So welcome to English Lovers by Honeydee, everybody. Today I am with a new topic that is clear in the title itself. It's about environment, and just give me some time to actually look at my YouTube channel so that I can share the link with the people. It will be interesting one since it's a global topic. Environment is very important and crucial in the part as a part of the life of human beings. So that's why it's going to be quite interesting and important for all of you, and as well as for me, because it's kind of reminding again and again the same kind of stuff that I used to teach earlier. Uh, Let me just see that like whether I'm being live on the channel or not. Mm, yeah, I hope so. Mm. So share it as much as possible right away, as you're gonna see the link over there on the channel itself. Like you can share it as much as possible. I'm gonna just share this thing right away on my different broadcasts that I have created for my Indian community as well as the people in Canada. What I feel is the major backlog or like main problem or the pitfall that I see with the channel is like consistency and continuity. But I try to make it possible that I would provide you that amount of material. At least it will require some time from your side to actually prepare and study those words. But I don't know like how people are taking it. But still, I will keep on making videos for those people who are preparing for the English examination, and also for those people who really want to improve themselves as far as their vocabulary is concerned. Mm, yeah, give me some time. Yeah, it's been shared now. Let me share it on Facebook as well. I don't use Instagram because that doesn't work on my um, phone actually. I'm using the phone which doesn't have that ability. Maybe the phone storage capacity is quite less yet. So I will try to make it possible that I'm gonna come soon on. I do have an account on Instagram, but I'm not using it regularly, or whenever I try to see, I see it on the web only. Like I open the proper website of the Instagram, and then I use it. I don't have application. So now, without any further delay, let's begin the session that we are talking about. So today's topic is quite diverse and quite broad. Environment. So by environment, what do we stand for? Like, what does it stand for? Like the word environment stand for our surrounding, our like aura or whatsoever is around us. That would be the part of the environment. So basically, what we're gonna talk about is mm, it's quite a popular topic, environment. And I told you that whatever topics that I'm trying to pick up, those topics are very much crucial for those people who are preparing for the IELTS examination, like the people who are trying to get good score in their writing task too, and they want to actually score good even in speaking. For example, if a topic comes related to the environment, then definitely you should know about the words, because lexical resource is being checked even in your speaking examination. So there, if you will speak related words, more of the vocabulary you're gonna use related to the topic, then definitely you'll get good score. As far as my view is concerned, as far as my perspective is concerned in that case. So we will begin with some kind of general statements related to the environment, and then we're gonna talk about some phrases, some combination of words which are very important to be known. Yeah. So the first word, as I told you, that is environment, and I told you that what environment is. So no, normally, if we talk about the word environment, environment is something which surrounds us, and like whatsoever topics are there underneath environment, we're gonna look at that with a very much a naked eye. Okay. Now, like, what are the terms, basic terms that come into place when it comes to environment? Like, we say global warming. It's quite a trending word, global warming. The warming of the globe, it stands for the whole world. So global warming, when it occurs on a major level, like around the world, and it happens due to the human actions, um, which causes uh, the earth's temperature to rise. Like, if the temperature of earth get risen by some means which are human actions, and it will give rise to the, you know lot of temperature, then definitely it'll be global warming. So warming will occur on the global, um, like, pedestal. So if it happens like that, then it is dangerous. It will have some negative consequences later on in our life. And I would suggest that global warming can be controlled, or can be adjusted, or can be taken into custody of human actions, if we are going to if we're gonna actually control our actions before, rather than expiating, or we say, like, being, if our conscious is not going to feel panics about anything. So if we feel it later on that we are conscious stricken, or we have some kind of you know what we say, particularly we say that if our conscious doesn't allow us, then definitely uh, it's a problem for human beings. So it's much better that the human being should control their actions in some cases, like carbon emission, use of the vehicles. Instead of that, they can actually utilize, or make use of bicycles, and try to avoid the use of the vehicles which actually give carbon emission, or try to actually restrict yourself from the use of that one, and minimum the use of, like, what we say, all these vehicles. But it happens on the global rate, let me tell you. So global warming is a very much a bigger issue. Like, world leaders launch an initiative to accelerate work on the global warming. Global warming also has a potential to change rainfall. So natural occurrence, or the phenomena which are natural to happen, like precipitation, or the water cycle also gets obstructed, or some problem comes in the way of all these natural things, or natural cycles, just because of the global warming. So it is very much a talk of the town, we can say. So we have to take care of that. So even the snow pattern, like, would change, depending upon the seasons, depending upon the places where we are, or where we are doing that global warming at a rapid rate, or at a coasting rate, I would say. So it can increase the droughts. I would tell you, drought is also one of the term when um the there is the scarcity of water, and there is less amount of water, and it will also give rise to the storms. Okay. So all are binded together. All these storming sessions in the environment um, are binded together, cyclones, or all these terms. If you're going to use an environment topic in your speaking or in your writing some way, then it is going to be a plus point for you to get good score. Okay. So I'll give you one example for that. Like most people think it is a period of hot and dry weather. So even a weather word as a word, weather is also the part of environment. So if you're gonna use those terms, I mean to say that if you're gonna use these basic terms in your speaking or in your writing and writing task too, then definitely it'll be good for you to score the score in the part of the vocabulary or in the part of the lexical resource. So, um, like it is a state, I'll just explain more. It is a state or condition when human demands for water exceeds in natural availability. So when there is a hot and dry weather, it will have some consequences. So what consequences are we talking about? We are talking about like lots of things. Like if there would be the temperature got risen, or even if there is global warming, it will give rise to another thing that is, I'll write over there, that is melting glaciers. So we know that how the rate of glaciers being melt, um, you know that is getting increased. So the increase in the melting of the glaciers, you know has been risen just because of the global warming. The increase in the mean temperature, that means the average temperature or overall temperature of the world has risen, and just because of that the glaciers are getting melt. Okay. So melting of the glaciers, melting glaciers is a major concern. So obviously we have to take control of that. We have to take a note of that, that we should like avoid using all such things which are the causes of the global warming, which are going to cause a lot of things like such. And another term related to the environment I would bring to your notice right now is greenhouse gases. So like if I say greenhouse gases, we should know that what we are talking about. Like what are these are those kind of gases which actually drives the temperature crazy. So okay. So when it comes to greenhouse gases, like they occur naturally, but human activity leads to release of enormous extra amount of greenhouse gases. And I told you that earlier also, like human actions are the major cause of concern for more greenhouse gases to occur into place, rather than naturally occurring greenhouse gases. So, so greenhouse gases has to be in control. So those emissions, the carbon emission, those mm, those gases like monoxide and all those gases must be in controlled, proper control. And how those can be controlled, there are lots of ways. If we're gonna plant more of the trees, if we're gonna actually burn less of the wood, or like there are lots of ways. We are not talking about the ways, but we are talking about those terms which are related to that. But I am telling you all those terms which are to be the part of your speaking or your writing. When it comes to, like, you should know a little bit about, like for example, I have written the word greenhouse gases. You should search out that particular topic like greenhouse gases in Google, on your Google search engine. Then try to find out as many as topics as possible related to the greenhouse gases, so that you would be well aware of whatsoever topics are there related to greenhouse gases. Okay. Now, next word that I'm going to write on the screen is deforestation. That is also the part of the environment. And we know that from which basic word, from which main word it came into being. We know that what is forest. Forest is a place where, which is actually the source of life for the animals, which is the source of life for human beings too, because we get lots of things from that, especially the fresh air, and also that water cycle occurs just because of more of the forests, and the trees, they give us food, they give us like fruits, they give us vegetables, they give us vegetation, flora and fauna, and what we say. So forests give us a lot of things, but deforestation, it gives us nothing. It gives us more of the cutting of the trees, and more of causes of the landslides, or the kinds of like soil erosion, what we say. There are other terms also, but I mean to say that these all are the words that has to be the part of environment. So deforestation is one of the climatic term that you should know about. Like there are three factors that I'm going to talk about, like population growth, so which has to be controlled. More of the population would be there, more of the chances that we require more of the land area where we can build our houses, where we can build our houses, sorry. So population growth is also the cause of concern. Like then thereafter, deforestation is one of the cause of concern, and factor farming are creating excess greenhouse gases in like atmosphere, and contributing to the global warming. So all of them are, all in all, the causes of the global warming. Like population growth is a major cause of concern as far as our own country is concerned. I think we should take some action. We should take some preventive measures. In case of that, I would actually let you know about all those preventive measures that we can do later on. But right now, we are going to keep our focus only and only on the terms which are related to the environment. So deforestation, I think deforestation, there is a poem in ICSE board ninth standard or 10th standard, I guess, like related to the trees. I think you must read that poem. And that poem, I think by Henry or something, I don't exactly remember that one. Like very beautiful poem it is. It's actually giving us the message to plant more and more trees, so that it is not only going to help, because it not only helps us to increase the chances of life, but also it also helps us to actually grow economically. And the greenery also gets increased just because of that. And it also helps us to know, like what are good things for human beings to do. So what we have actually left is actually to be preserved, like cultivation of the crops, and doing the farming, which is a basic requirement of human beings. Because to live, money is not required to live. We require how to cultivate the food, and how, like, we know that what kind of food industry that we have, and it will never stop. So definitely, if we're gonna look into the the basic element of life, then definitely it's required that we need to plant more and more trees. And we should know about farming, and organic, particularly organic farming. So deforestation is the clearing of trees. We know that it's a clearing of trees without the intent of replanting them. So basically, if deforestation is to be called as deforestation only when there is no intent. Intent means your intention is missing to replant them, or plant them again. So if you're gonna cut the trees, I think there must be an application of a rule that person should plant at least 10 trees, or 10 plants, or 10 saplings. Then if the person is cutting one tree, so it is going to help people know about the importance of the trees also, and also help them to grow more in life. um, how? Because more they will cut, more they will plant, and it will keep on occurring. The cycle is going to occur more and more. And if the speed with which they plant more trees, is greater than that of cutting of the trees, then definitely there won't be any bad effect of cutting the trees. But if they are cutting more trees and they are planting less, then definitely it will have more effect, more, what we say, it will be having the worst effect on them if they are not going to control their activities like such. So replanting is also required. Replanting is also a term that you should know, that replanting means planting the trees again. Okay. So replanting is also a term that you should know about when it comes to environment. Yeah. Now thereafter, the another term, there is just because of the ultimate conclusion of the deforestation, there is a hit to this particular term, biodiversity. Diversity, we know that what is diversity. Diversity means divergence, or different, corners of life. So diversity means diverts means so many things, variety of life. Bio means life. So biodiversity gets hit by an enemy of our life, that is deforestation. We have to control that. So biodiversity actually is a variety of all living things on earth. So all the living things, that means all the things which have life will be called biodiversity, will be the part of the biodiversity. All the living things on earth, they are the part of the biodiversity. You should remember that. Okay, plants, animals, microorganisms, amoeba, paramecium, and all that, all those terms. So now, what we're going to talk about, another term, we're going to talk about ecosystem. Ecosystem. Ecosystem is also the part of environment. So basic term that will remain same is environment. I will write that. So there is some spelling error. So sorry. And environment. So environment. We got the environment term, and underneath that one, all those words will come. Ecosystem is also one of the, like, what is ecosystem? Um, like many species within a forest ecosystem are flora and fauna, when we say that is also ecosystem for all the lives which are in forest, so are endemic to that habitat, and when their habitat is lost, it could lead to the extinction. Okay. Ecosystem, your surrounding or your habitat, like habitat, place where you live. Okay. Inhabitants would be those people. Habitants Inhabitants would be those people like who are living in the habitat, and habitat is the place where they live, and habitat is a kind of ecosystem that you are actually living in. So what actually the ecosystem means, it's a community of living. Okay. Community of living and not living things that work together. So those which are materialistic things, and those things I told you, surrounding can be about your like the people who are living beings, and also about like all those things which are non-living things, like table and chair and all that stuff. All those non-living things, the houses, the who do not breathe. So they are also the part of the ecosystem. So ecosystem gets affected more and more if we will actually not take care of our actions. Okay. So just because of no control on all such activities, there can be another problem that can occur. That is, there is a term called extinction. Extinction. What is extinction? Extinction is like when when the things are gonna be completely over. Okay. That means they some of the species are on the verge of extinction. Some of the species of animals are on the verge of extinction. Extinction means like they are on the verge of no existence. That means they won't have any further existence in life. Like their species are so less that they're gonna be over within some years. Like thereafter, no other. Like that's why we say that we need to preserve all those natural things like animals, or we should not kill them. So that's why all poaching and hunting and all that things are to be controlled. So extinction is also a very beautiful term. So it starts with extinct. Extinct, that means that gets over. So extinct will be, it means end. It may end. So extinction is a phenomena of not occurring again, no longer existence. When it does not have any further existence, then definitely it is on extinction, or it is extinct. It is completely extincted. Now there is another term, endangered species, which also is a part of what we say environment. Endangered, we from the term itself it is quite clear that what can be endangered species. What are species? Species means variety, or the categories, or different kind of kinds. We in simple terms to remember kinds of. So endangered species would be those one which are in danger. That means those species which are in the danger and which are on the verge means let me tell you, verge means on the brink, on the brink, or even if we say that on the bank, or on the edge of extinction, which are going to be extinct sooner or later. Like these are endangered species. So tiger, lion, different others. So all these species must be preserved rather than actually getting killed, or even the animals, or sorry, all the other animals and the plants, or we need to preserve the trees as well. So there are over like one example is that there are over 1300 species in the United States that are listed as threatened. Threatened means which are under the threat. Threat means like when we try to push someone, we threaten the person, we create a threat for the person, or we create a fear on for the person. So when we threaten somebody, um that means we are trying to create fear in someone, like that those. And if we are using it as an adjective, threatened species, threatened means which are under the fear. Those species, those categories, okay, are under the fear, or endangered, or you can that is a synonym for endangered, threatened, okay, which are being put into the danger zone, which are in the danger zone, okay. Remember that. Now another term, very beautiful term, which everyone should know. Like, and even I remember that during our 8th standard, or even before that one, our teacher told us that there is a certain layer which help us to actually live more, and be saved from the ultraviolet rays that are coming from the sun. Okay, ultraviolet rays are being considered like dangerous also, and required also somehow. Ultraviolet rays can cause lots of diseases thereafter, if they are not taken in proper limits. In their proper limits, if they are beyond, like everything beyond the limit is dangerous. So definitely these ultraviolet rays are also very dangerous. So if UV rays are not in control, UV rays are not taken in control, so definitely it can. And this is controlled by a natural, God has created everything for us. So it's all up to us, like how to actually use it. So God has saved us from the sun's ultraviolet extra rays with the help of ozone layer. We I think we call it O3, ozone layer. So layer, we know that what is layer. Okay, one of the what we say, mm, one of the shelter, or what we say, one of the sheet, we can say sheet of the ozone. So there is a sheet of the ozone in the environment or in the atmosphere, which saves us a belt of naturally occurring ozone gas that sits above the earth. So it is above the earth, around the earth, that serves as a shield. It's a shield actually. So layer I wanted to say about the shield, like it's a shield because it saves us from ultraviolet UV rays. So those which are harmful ultraviolet rays. So it saves us from that. O3 ozone layer or ozone gas saves us from ultraviolet rays, and that comes closer to us. More of the harmful ultraviolet rays come closer to us just because we are depleting the ozone layer at an endangered rate, like, or even what we say, that very rapid rate. So how we are doing it? Global warming. So we should control that. Then we have, ozone layer depletion altogether. Depletion. Ozone layer depletion. Ozone layer depletion altogether means the deleting of the ozone layer just because of the human activities in the form of the global warming, in the form of the greenhouse gases, or like all such things, just because ultimately reaches reach to a certain limit, and they give rise to the cause of ozone layer depletion. So ozone layer depletion is the deleting of the ozone layer, so you should know that. And how, like it occurs more, like if we're gonna use more of the vehicles, uh, rather than using the even for going to the market, like if we don't use our like on feet, and if we don't walk as a pedestrian, and if we go everywhere in the car, then definitely we can't reduce the greenhouse emissions, or even that can cause the human carbon footprints. So another term that I want to actually bring to your notice is carbon footprints. What are carbon footprints? Those amount of the carbon emission by human beings is the carbon footprint. So it is the amount of the greenhouse gases emitted by something during the given period of time. So in the given period of time, if we are emitting the more of the greenhouse gases, then we are giving rise to the carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, carbon, like whichsoever is hazardous and risky for human beings to live, or for the living things to live properly. Then all those gases, if they are getting emitted, we know that which are coming out. Emitted means like if something comes out of something, then if it is getting emitted. So that is carbon footprint. Carbon footprint can be measured for an individual or an organization. It can be ultimately when we put a blame, obviously we put a blame to the whole human race. If some people are good also, they realize also, then they are good citizens and netizens, or the like denizens of a particular world. Even like if they try to actually control that thing, but obviously, like what we say, if one person gets wrong, then if other follows the same thing, then definitely it's gonna be the whole race is going to be disgraced. But if we are following a right person, who has paved a way for um good things to be done in life, or the ideal things to be chosen, then definitely um, like we should follow the person, and try to live on the ideals of such a person. So then so carbon footprints can be, I told you, the measure by the from the individual side also, and can be organizations also. It's like typically they are given in tons of CO2, like that means how much of the CO2 is being like emitted. So carbon monoxide, I told you. So these gases, you must know. Okay. People actually try to confuse that one. Like I must tell you, CO2 and CO both are different. It is carbon monoxide and CO2 is carbon dioxide. Just a second. Having some itch in my throat. I love this thing. I don't know like whether I should do it or not, but I love that thing. So, so what is CO2? CO2 is produced by the gasoline engines that use the like catalytic converters, or CO is generated by the gasoline engines that do not use a catalytic converter. Like the basic difference between that is to reduce that carbon dioxide emissions, we have to do something. Like for example, we need to actually use less of the petroleum gas. And like people who are actually like the diesel also, the diesel is, I think, more dangerous. I think everything is dangerous, we should actually control all these things, but still, just because the life has become fast paced, and in this like fast paced life, like fast era, you can't control all those activities. Just a second. So now thereafter, there is another term called hazardous waste. Hazardous waste. What is hazardous waste? Hazardous. It will become an adjective. So waste is a noun here. Hazardous waste is something like which is handled. It is essential that hazardous waste must be handled, stored, transported, and disposed of properly. Disposed of properly here, it means to say that disposed of properly, and that means it has to be put into the dump sites, and then thereafter, like recycling and everything must be done for that. Hazardous waste, which can actually cause lots of diseases if they are being kept on the open in the open area and without any kind of supervision, without any kind of municipal supervision. So it can be very dangerous. So hazardous waste has to be taken into control. And then, if we are contaminating something, contamination is also one of the term. One should know what is contamination. It's kind of, mishandling the things, and that polluting things. It is like contaminate actually is the word contaminate, Nate, contaminate, if and ends with te. Contaminate is a verb, contamination is the phenomena, so that's it's a noun. Okay. So contamination is the phenomena or the process in which we contaminate more of the surroundings, or pollution. So from pollution is the phenomena and pollute is the verb. So pollute, when we pollute something, that we are trying to destruct it more of the time. So contamination is the presence of unwanted or the foreign substances which are not required. So when we are polluting something, or when we are trying to, being careless, when we are careless, when we are handling things, then it becomes a reason for pollution to occur. And just because of the waste products in the open area, then that can cause lots of, what we say, dangerous diseases to occur. So contamination can be natural, contamination can be human, like human wise also, or human beings can also do the contamination. So it all depends upon the circumstances. So pollution is produced by the influence or activities of the people, like the way people behave, the way people will take care of the kind of garbage that, like we should know about the garbage bins. In the garbage bins, if we are not putting the, what is that, later. So if in the garbage bin, we are not throwing the garbage in the garbage bin, instead of that one outside, we are just doing that outside, and then definitely it can cause lots of things. So contamination of the fields could happen yeah, like if we want to pollute the farmland or the area where we are actually producing lots of vegetables, wheat, barley, whatsoever, it can happen by pesticides. So if we are using pesticides, we are trying to use these pesticides for the pest control. Um, so these are the chemicals which can kill the pest or the insects, you know. So if we are trying to use more of the pesticides on our farmland or in our farmlands, then it can cause lots of diseases since these are chemicals. So chemical intake of human beings have increased a lot. So one should actually control that as well. Like be That's why I'm saying that organic farming, that's the main way by which we can actually like we have to control our tongues or we have to control our taste. So if we have no control on our taste buds, then definitely we can't actually get rid of all such things. So we have to control ourselves and find the substitutes, find good substitutes which can actually give you the taste as well, and as well as like here again I became aware of the thing that we require some taste. So take care of that thing, like that definitely we can be saved. But pesticides, I would say that use of pesticides must be like I would say forsaken, or should not be allowed at all. Now thereafter, that there is a term related to environment, I would say that hmm, let me just close this. So now, another term that comes into being is like landfill. So there was a lot of say about this landfill in Canada, in particularly Manitoba. We know about it. So what is a landfill? Landfill is an area of land that is used to dispose of waste. Dispose means dispose of waste. When we are disposing of the waste, or OFF or single F also works. So dispose of the waste, dispose of, that means we are trying to uh, you know get rid of some waste and we are disposing it somewhere, or we are burying it down in the land. So landfill are those particular pits that we create. So the purpose of the landfill is to bury the waste in a way that it will be isolated from the groundwater. So it should not get mixed with the groundwater. If it gets mixed, then definitely there would be the contamination of the groundwater. So it may it will be kept dry and out of the contact with the air, and it will be just what we said, it will be filled completely up to the brim, so that it will be completely covered. So each country has a policy of landfills. So every country carries that policy. Then there is another term called like renewable, we say that, which can be renewed. It's from the term, it is quite clear. Renewable energy sources. Those sources, those ways by which we can renew the energy, the renewable energy sources are those energy sources which can be renewed, like wind, which can, like solar and other forms of renewable energies. So these are the sources by which we can actually get the power, or like we can generate electricity also. So these are those terms you should know about. Renewable, which can be renewed, you should know about that. And if you're gonna just search a topic related to that, then definitely you will get more of the knowledge to that. But I would say that every time when you are actually seeing a new word, then try to at least read an article about it, so that you may be aware of at least how to use it in the sentences, or in the paragraph formation, and where it can help you out. And at least you will get the senses, and you will come to a consensus with the article, that yeah, I know that like what they're trying to say, then make an example agreement with your mind and that article, so that you may be ready with some information related to the renewable energy sources. Then thereafter, it's not only renewable sources of energy, but other things also. Any topic that you take or pick up, then you should be aware of that thing, like how I should actually speak on that. um, uh, First thing is that you have to have a mindset of actually learning, and if you don't have that one, simply you want to actually cramp things up, I don't think so that you will learn it, or you can sustain it for long duration of time or longer duration of time in your life. It'll not sustain with you, or it will not be along with you thereafter. After some time it will be over then, like you will forget that. Tidal energy, that is also the part of the environment. Tidal energy, what is tidal energy? So tidal, from the word itself, tide, if you say, what is tide? Tide we see in the sea or ocean currents. Like, the tidal energy is the power produced by the surge of ocean waters. Surge, that means the waves, during the rise and the fall of the tides, when there are crest and troughs created, and just because of those currents in the water, so there is a certain sort of energy that is produced, that is tidal energy, just because of the tides. Okay, rise and fall of the tides. So that is tidal energy. So engineers around the world are working to improve the technology of the tidal energy generators to increase the amount of energy that they produce, and it decrease the impact on the environment. So they are trying to use more of the terms or more of the things which are naturally occurring. So that is why the tidal energy is one of those sources, and I think we should actually know about it more. So then, if we talk more on the renewable sources of energy, then there is another term called wind turbines. Okay, wind turbines, you should know that. Turbine, we know that. um, Turbines, basic turbines we know about, like which are used for the farming also. So wind turbines and the solar panel are also, like, wind turbines and the solar panel, you should know about solar panels. Okay, so why solar panels? We try to save energy. Okay, sun energy. Wind turbines are an affordable, efficient, abundant source of electricity. um there are companies nowadays, I think more of the Japanese companies, we have seen that, like, they are using that system, or I think in one of the tiny countries like Malaysia, I guess I just heard about a topic related to that. The solar panels are on the sea. I don't know exactly the name of the country, but I have seen that on like LinkedIn, one of the video I saw there, that solar panels are being placed on the like the layer of the sea, or layer of the whatsoever lake or something, so that they would keep on floating, and sunlight would be there, and energy would be produced or something. So countries are becoming smarter and smarter day by day. So solar panels are used to improve the environment profiles and to cut their operational costs. And even, when we try to operate and we try to create artificial energy, then it takes a lot of money. But when it comes to the solar energy or solar panels, then it takes less amount of money. So yeah, so that's the thing. Then another term that you should know about environment is fossil fuels. We know about fuels. We use fuel for our cars and all those, but fossil fuels, we know that still play a dominant role on the market. Like coal, oil, or these natural gases, fossil fuels are required. Like, whatever natural gas that we use in our houses, also, like in many of the countries, people use the natural gas. So, so fossil fuels such as coal are abundant and cheap, and others like oil have a variable cost depending on the geographical location where it actually exists. So it depends, all in all. Now, these were some of the terms of fossil fuel. I think you have gotten to know that these were some of the terms. Before actually moving further, let me just take a look at channel. There you go. Now, the next thing that what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you additional vocabulary. Additional vocabulary, vocab related to the topic, environment. Just a second. So we're going to talk about those like combination of the words now. I don't know like why I'm writing it again and again wrong. Environment. So additional vocabulary related to the environment we're going to talk about. Now let me just change the color of the pen. I'm bored with the kind of black. Let me use it. Let me see that black. Black would be fine. Now, now the term that I'm going to talk about is a climate change. What is climate change? We see a lot of climate change in Manitoba and particularly in Winnipeg. So changes in the Earth's weather pattern. So weather patterns get changed every year. Like we were expecting something in India. We used to expect that like winter weather would come little late, but this time it came earlier just because of these weather patterns are also getting changed just because of the global warming. So climate is getting affected just because of the global warming. So we should know about what is climate change. So what is climate change? Climate change are the changes that the Earth's weather patterns see. Okay, so those changes in the climate would be the like the climatic change. So it depends upon how we use it. A change in the climate, a change in the weather, or the Earth's weather patterns would be climate change. Remember that. Acid rain, like from the term itself, the rain which contains the acid. For simple, in the layman's language, if I say like a rain that contains the acid, so rain that contains the dangerous chemicals. Now, acid would be those the dangerous chemicals. So not safe one, dangerous chemicals. It would they would be so dangerous chemicals because of the smoke from the cars and the factories, like the carbon emission, the greenhouse gas emissions, or greenhouse gas emissions. I mean to say, like, it's right. So all those things ultimately leads to acid rain. More of those like greenhouse gases. The chances are that the rain won't be pure rain and the water won't be the pure water. It would be giving rise to the acid rain in the environment. So we should know about that. Like next is industrial waste. Industrial waste, we know that like lots of industries are set up in the country, or particularly in the not in the countryside, but in the I mean to say that not in the village side, but in the city side, and especially the metropolitan cities. So industrial waste becomes a major cause of concern for people. So damaged, defective, and superfluous material produced by the industry, whichsoever like something like plastic, or we say that burning of like something like when the sugar is produced, there are a lot of fumes that comes out of the chimneys. So that those fumes, that smoke that comes out of the chimneys, or the smoke that comes out of the chimneys, that becomes, or the soot, we say soot also. Okay, soot that comes out of the chimneys, that becomes a major reason for like a kind of change in the patterns also, weather patterns too. So it becomes the reason for the industrial waste, and the products, the byproducts that they throw out, like when they are making things, we see only the brighter side, but actually the brighter side also have the negative side. Like when, for example, a company produces lots of clothes, and whatever byproducts they are doing, like they are producing alongside, we don't know like what do they do with it. We should know about that also. Like everyone should have a control, and every industry has to have a control on that, like whichsoever clothing industry or whichsoever industry that we deal with, or even the company deal with. So that particular industrial waste has to be in control. So government has made lots of policies about the same too. Now, another term related to that is urbanization. Urbanization. What is urbanization? Urbanization is a term related to cities. So urban areas like towns, cities. What is urbanization? Urbanization is a process, like TION. It will be a process. So what is urbanization? Urbanization is the phenomena by which the towns and the cities are formed and become larger as more and more people begin living in the towns and the cities, just because of their occupation, for lots of other reasons. People are moving from village to the city side or the town side. But I think living in the village side is better than living in the city side, because you will get many benefits. But there are, obviously, every coin has two sides. Everything has negative side too, like darker side nobody sees. But I believe that that can be controlled, or that can be like overtaken. Like if we are in a village, then for buying things or going to the marketplace, we should actually get some time. Otherwise, the life in the village sites or the village areas, that's much better, pure at least. Now, biodegradable. Biodegradable. What is biodegradable? Degrade means degrading something or destroying something. So capable of being slowly destroyed. So degradable, that means like which has the tendency of life, and very slowly that degrades. Okay. So capable of being slowly destroyed and broken down into very small parts by natural processes, and like fermentation or fungi or bacteria kind of stuff is used. Then like the way we make the bread also, that the formation, we are not talking about formation here, we are talking about something else. So biodegradable here, it stands for something related to like breaking down the things, or like degrading the things, or which has a life, into smaller parts by the natural processes rather than natural decay. That means naturally when they are decaying, that is biodegradable. Those things are biodegradable. So what like there is a very beautiful term called environmentalist. And same way, like for this one, we can say another term, environmental activist, like which takes care of environment somehow, or takes action in respect of the environmental activist, the one who takes action in respect to the environment. That activist who is quite active in taking some uh, like bringing some policies into the light for saving the environment from some things. A person who works to protect the natural world from pollution and other threats. So if there is pollution in the like city or in any area, like these activists, environmental activists, they come into place and they actually take actions and do some execution into what their policies are, and they actually raise their voice against the pollution, like pollution builders. Then thereafter, natural disasters. Natural disaster. What is a natural disaster? We know lots of natural disasters. Earthquake is a natural disaster. We know floods is a natural disaster. Famine is a natural disaster. Like a tornado is a natural disaster. Like hurricane is a natural disaster. So there are lots of natural disasters. which occur naturally. Those disasters, those destructions, those processes of destructions which occur naturally, those would be natural disaster. So natural disaster also has to be known to you. Like if there is any topic related to the natural disaster, you can explain about it only when you know about it. So I must tell you whatsoever terms I'm telling you, that if you will keep those terms in the mind and you're going to use those terms in your speaking exam or in the writing exam or whichever topic that you face in your examination, not only in ELTS but somewhere else also, then I think you should restrict yourself to stay in the same periphery, same zone. Then thereafter, there is a term called hybrid cards. Hybridization we see, in agriculture. We see hybridization even in work culture also. Sometimes working from home and sometimes working at the like in person. So that is hybridization. Now, hybrid cards would be related to those cards, which can be hybrid in which two or more distinct type of parts are available, like internal combustion engine and electric motors are used. So both are there. So hybrid cars are those only which can be used in both ways. So those are hybrid cars. Then there are fertilizers. Why we use fertilizers? Lizards itself clear that what are fertilizers, which will try to fertilize the things, earlier than naturally occurrence. Like if it has to happen in 2 months, a fertilizer is used to actually get it done within 2 weeks. So fertilizer obviously would be a chemical. So chemical is not good for health. Then definitely fertilizers must be, like we should take care of fertilizers. Those should be naturally made fertilizers, or like substance like manure or special chemical. So if we are not using chemical, or we are using manure only, so that there is a difference. So, like when we use manure, obviously manure is required for actually growing the plants or growing the vegetables. Then those are good ones. But if we are using the chemicals, then it's not good for health. So chemical usage must be avoided when it comes to the use of the fertilizers or the pesticides. I told you about, like pesticides are used for actually avoiding the pests or getting rid of the pests. But fertilizers are used to fertilize the things faster. Okay. Then there is a term called rainforest. What is rainforest? Obviously, a tropical forest that receives a lot of rain. Like a certain forest where rain happens every now and then. That is the tropical rainforest, and has a very tall trees. You know, So very tall trees can be seen in the rainforest area, like that particular forest. Now, another term is called chemicals. We are talking about chemicals from quite a while. For a long time, we have talked about it, but we should know about what are chemicals, which are made from the chemical processes by the chemical reactions. And obviously, if the chemical reactions are taken place, then definitely those are man-made. So chemicals obtained by the chemical process or chemical effect are the chemicals. We should try to avoid the use of chemicals more of the time. Now, yeah. Then thereafter there is another term called sustainable agriculture. Sustain, from word sustain itself, it's quite clear that what I'm going to talk about. Sustainable, which can be sustained. Able means which can be. Okay. Sustained, obviously, which can remain. Agriculture. So agriculture which can be sustained for a long time, that is sustainable agriculture. So it's an act of farming based on the understanding of ecosystem services. If we are thinking about the surrounding, and based upon that one, we are producing the plants or producing the crops accordingly. Sorry. A study of relationship between the organisms and the environment, that is known as sustainable agriculture. Like for example, in Punjab, we are actually planting more of like we are trying to actually get more of the rice, which is not good. because our land is not made for that, but still we are doing it. That kind of crops can actually take a lot of water. It requires a lot of water for that. So if we require a lot of water for that, then definitely it's a not good place to go for it, because we try to use more of the water, and we do misuse of it too. But somehow I would say that sustainable agriculture has to be related to things which are which are intact with the like environment. Based upon the environment, if we are doing the agriculture, and it will sustain for a long time. So that's how the sustainable agriculture came into being. Another term that is called as adverse environmental effect. Adverse means opposite. Adverse means opposite. Environmental um, effects. Those effects, those environmental effects which have opposition, like abnormal and harmful and undesirable impact on environment. If there is adverse environmental effect just because of human actions, then we can use this term. So use of more of the vehicles, more of the carbon emission vehicles, causes lots of adverse environmental effects, you know cause lots of environmental effects, adverse ones. So climate change mitigation, that's very beautiful term. You must know that climate change mitigation. Mitigate means to decrease. Mitigation, climate change mitigation altogether would be like consisting of the actions to limit the magnitude or the rate of long term climate change. So consist of the actions, those actions which are made to control the climate change and control the global warming, or control the emission of the greenhouse gases. Those are related to the climate change. Okay. um I told you, I think, about the term carbon emission, the carbon footprints earlier. So emission, simply the term emissions. Emissions would be the substances discharged into the air by the smokestack or an automobile engine. Any automobile engine, if it is standing and still it is fuming out lots of gases, then that means there is emission going on from that vehicle. So that's not good. So emissions means anything that comes out or discharged out. Okay. Then there is a term called exhaust fumes. The gases ejected from an engine as waste products, like exhaust fumes, uh, exhaust fan, we say exhaust fan, which will give out fumes. So giving out the fumes is also exhausting the fumes. So gases which are coming out from the engine or as a waste product would be exhausting, like as exhaust fumes. Now there is another term called to conserve, conserve energy. When we try to preserve and save energy, that is, or use the energy carefully. We're trying to use it, but we are not trying to use it to that extent it is going to get extinct. Okay, it is going to get over. So use energy carefully in order to prevent the loss or waste. That is to conserve energy. We need to know how to conserve energy. Okay. Then there is a term called, sorry, toxic. I have started reading a book called Toxic Positivity. I think I have that book with me right away. Yeah, here you see. It's by Whitney Goodman. I have started this book, but I really like the book and the concept also. I don't know, like, whether it is visible over there, and it will be opposite in your case. Like, when you're gonna see that, it will be opposite. I know that the terms can be tilted ones or the opposite ones in the opposite direction, or inverted one. Now, toxic means containing poisonous gases. Like toxic, you know, I face the toxic environment in my workplace, at my workplace. So that's why I left that place, and I followed the teaching of Guru Nanak Dev Ji in that case particularly. Was there a you know containing poisonous substances, like if the environment is toxic, it carries lots of poisonous um, like vibes. You should leave those vibes and get into the positive environment or aura. So there you can find that like toxic would be containing if something contains poisonous element, poisonous venomous element, we can say that substances, those are toxic ones. Now then thereafter we have to recycle. What do you mean by to recycle? Recycle means to get it again. Recyclable, we say that, like when we have used newspapers or the bottles or the cans, and like we are sending them to a place where they can be mixed together to make something new. So we say that it is paper made or something like that, and we are using the newspaper, we are using the bottles. So all those things which can be recyclable can be used again. If something like to send something to recycle means to send to a place to make them something else. Okay. Now, the last word of the class would be the 3 R's concept. So we should know about, like, I would suggest you to actually go through this particular concept and write that one on Google. Okay, Google it, more of it, then you will be able to know that. But I will tell you what do you mean by 3 R's here. R for the first R stands for reduce, second is for reuse, and third is for recycle. So what we have to do is we have to reduce the things which are harmful for the human beings and for the existence on the planet or the biodiversity. If it is dangerous, then we should use them less and reduce the use of all such things. And if we are using them, then try to produce those things which can be reused again and again. And we have to have the policy to reuse the things again and again. you know there is one example that I can give you, like the clothes that are being used by someone else are being thrown into some places or being given to some places or donated to some places like thrift store, village value. People wear those clothes, but somehow I don't know, like whether they are quality product or not, but still that is one of the example that I'm trying to tell you, that they are reusing the same thing again and again. It's not like they're throwing it out into the dustbin and it is becoming dangerous thereafter. Like it's not, it's getting used again and again, I mean to say. So recycling, we need to actually produce lots of things or more of those things which can be recycled and can help us, to gain new other things which can be cheaper, better for life. So that is the thing. Like this was the last word for this particular class. We have learned lots of words about environment. Let me just stop share this thing. Yeah. So that was the second topic that we have done about like one of the important topics on ELTS exam topics. Like in one of the topics, the first one we did was education, and now the second one is environment. And I must tell you before going, what would be the next topic? It would be related to the food. So make sure that one you are reading and studying some articles related to the terms that I have already shared with you. So all those terms can help you out to enhance or increase your knowledge to a great extent. So for now, I have to say bye bye. Thank you very much for joining in, and